Transnistria, a country not recognized by the world. On September 2nd, thousands of people celebrated their nation's Independence Day with a sense of pride. Enthusiasm and expressions of happiness are clearly visible on their faces, emphasizing the sense of nationalism that has grown and taken root in their souls. However, unfortunately, the world considers them to be celebrating a country that does not exist. And this is the story of Transnistria, a small country in Europe whose existence is not acknowledged by the world. Transnistria, or some also call it Pridnestrovie, a country that is not recognized internationally and is still considered part of the country of Moldova. Not only is it not recognized, the name of this country sounds unfamiliar to many people. Transnistria only has an area of around 4,163 square kilometers, and the capital and largest city is Tiraspol. This country controls most of the narrow area between the Dniester River and the Moldova-Ukraine border. Despite its small size, Transnistria plays an important role in the regional geopolitical context and is the center of a number of complex political issues between Moldova, Russia, and the international community in general. The people living in Transnistria are made up of various ethnic groups, including the majority of Russians and Ukrainians, while the official and commonly used language here is Russian. Transnistria's history covers a very short but intense period since its formation in the 1990s. The conflict began after the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s. At that time, the country of Moldova gained independence and declared its intention to unite with Romania. The population in the eastern region of Moldova, which is mostly ethnic Russians and Ukrainians, did not agree with this idea. In 1990, conflict erupted between supporters of integration with Russia and the Moldovan government. This led to the establishment of the Republic of Moldova Transnistria in 1990, which then followed its declaration of independence from Moldova in 1992. Armed conflict between Transnistrian forces and Moldovan forces occurred in 1992, which claimed the lives of around 1,500 people. This conflict ended with a ceasefire and the establishment of a security zone separating the two parties. Transnistria, although de facto independent, the status of this country is not recognized by many countries in the world. However, they receive support from Russia. Transnistria has strong historical and cultural ties to Russia, and the presence of Russian peacekeeping forces in the region adds a complex geopolitical dimension. Until now, the status of Transnistria remains controversial. Although it has de facto control over its territory, Transnistria is not internationally recognized as an independent country. Diplomatic efforts and negotiations between the various parties continue to seek a solution that is acceptable to all parties involved. After declaring independence from Moldova, even without international recognition, life in this country continues to this day. Transnistria is now inhabited by around 500,000 people. The Transnistrian government has a presidential structure, and the president is its head of state. This small country also has an army as the vanguard of the country's defense, with around 1,500 military troops recorded. Just like other countries, here we can also find supermarkets, restaurants, cinemas, even football, named FC Sheriff Tiraspol, which was founded by former Soviet secret agents. Although it has claimed to be an independent country, but has not received recognition from the world, making its territory not part of any country, and also does not have the rights as a country. This condition makes the country's currency, Transnistrian ruble, invalid outside its territory, as well as its passport, which is considered useless because it is not accepted in any country. The UN still considers Transnistria as part of Moldova, and only 3 countries, namely Abkhazia, the Republic of Artsakh, and South Ossetia, recognize Transnistria as an independent country. However, the 3 countries themselves are still only recognized in a limited way by the world. Even so, Transnistria is visited by many foreign tourists, especially those who want to dive into history and feel the journey across time to the past. The influence of the Soviet Union is still very visible in the culture, architecture, and symbols in Transnistria. Soviet monuments and symbols often dominate the city landscape. When walking in cities in Transnistria, visitors can still find statues of Lenin, the leader of the Soviet Union until 1924. There are also still many symbols of the glory of the communist country. But what must always be remembered is that the Transnistrian government only grants travel permits for tourists for a maximum of 10 hours in the country. The economy of this small country is supported by several sectors, such as agriculture and important industries, including steel production, textiles, and manufactured goods. While the agricultural sector of Transnistria consists of various businesses, including food crop farming, livestock, and plantations, food crops such as wheat, corn, and vegetables are a vital part of Transnistria's agricultural production. International isolation has an economic impact. Limited access to global markets and foreign investment is an obstacle, despite economic support from Russia. In short, Transnistria is a country that is not recognized internationally, emerging as a complex and controversial reality. Even though they feel independent, they are still struggling in the shadow of political uncertainty and global recognition that has not materialized until today. What is certain is that Transnistria continues to try to carve out its identity in the midst of a world that does not recognize it. Will Transnistria continue to be a grey area or find the true light of independence?